Welcome back, folks. This is Hot Button. I'm Randall Beatrice, here with Austin Blakesley.
Yo.
Matthew Nudeboom.
Hello.
Kristen Linderman.
Hi.
And Dave Solitti.
Hello.
Nice to have you all in together in the same recording for a change.
It's good to be here for the spooky season.
I'm always here.
That and the podcast this week comes with 200% more cat as we are in a new location, taking our show on the road to your humble abode.
I
Kat.
promise nothing about the, state of your wires after this,
Okay.
because they are prone to chew.
We'll back it in, but thanks
I
for
saw
a
hosting
little
us.
bit more character.
Yeah, I saw him sniffing around already.
Yeah.
Like they're
Oh,
thinking
yeah.
about it.
Spike was looking like he wanted to lick that one mic stand. So
Uh-oh.
I don't know.
But we're in the midst of spooky season now, so how about we get into another gaming-related campfire tale? This one definitely a bit on the roads less traveled side, as the topic, as well as its fucked up legacy, aren't often discussed in the usual places you'd look when exploring the industry's darkest stories. We recently did an episode that covered a series of incidents when our beloved medium accidentally, or purposely, depending on the case, shared connections to actual real-world death. It was indeed a heavier subject. However, I saved the most sinister for last, because today I want to recount the disturbing history of not just the piece itself, but the mind behind it. This warranted its own full investigation. All right, so prior to this month, how many of you have ever heard of Drowned God?
Nada.
Never.
And don't feel bad. This was the answer I was expecting. Few have. Likely due to it being a first-person sci-fi PC adventure title released in 1996. It was developed by Epic Multimedia Group Limited, a team whose only 4 credits include this and 3 previous Philips CDI games.
They went on to make Fortnite, though.
Right, yeah. How could I forget? It was published by Inkscape, an eccentric company that focused on distributing the unusual. We'll dig more into both of them later. Drowned God, technically Drowned God, Conspiracy of the Ages. I got to admit, it's a provocative name. It invokes, terror.
Why?
Or at least deeper
have a
themes.
Subtitle in your, the first game in your series?
Hey, I ask myself that when companies do that now. It's I'm going to read this plot summary directly from its Wikipedia page. Quote, propounding the theory that all of human history is a lie and that the human race's development and evolution were aided by extraterrestrials. Yes, it's one of those. That's the level of absurdity we're kicking it off with. Yeah.
Is that it? That's not a plot.
Well, I said summary.
Oh, okay.
Tell the History Channel, okay?
Yeah,
that's
it's like
fair.
Ancient Aliens.
Yeah.
And
the entirety of human history has been a lie, but don't worry, this one game dev fucking got it right.
Yeah.
And we've been exposed to it before. Not to get bogged down in those weeds this soon, though. We can't really dissect the product itself without chronicling the writer responsible for its inception and eventual creation. Writer and director. Harry Horse, or what I call him, the definition of what happens when a tortured soul or / deranged artist goes mad.
Wow. He was named after heroin twice.
Allegedly.
Is that
Oh my God, I think
Harry
I never...
Horse, yeah.
that was his God-given name. That's his...
No, so
Oh, okay.
he was born in May 1960 as Richard Horne in the English country of Coventry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
Coventry, yeah.
Coventry.
Okay.
Coventry.
Harry Horse was the alias he would later use on his work. There are smatterings of info on his upbringing. He's the first of 4 children, the lone brother and a group of sisters. The family lived on a financially successful farm property, owned a fishing boat and a Bentley. Every December, they'd throw massive Christmas parties.
This is a good farm.
Yeah.
Are Bentleys cheaper over there? Aren't they made?
No.
No? Okay.
They're more expensive here, so technically yes, but they're also all built by
Technically
hand.
correct is the only correct as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned, so that's fine.
The best kind of correct.
He loved animals and the outdoors, was creatively skilled. He enjoyed Westerns, frequently dressing as a cowboy, and would sign the church ledger as Clint Eastwood or Bugs Bunny. Never Richard. He dug music, most prominently Bob Dylan. As a teenager, he was employed at a law firm, a gig he did not vibe with. Otherwise, he was described as charismatic and mischievous, making his friends laugh by mocking American accents. Funny.
Oh, so basically we now have carte blanche to just do British whenever we want.
Yeah.
Right? Perfect.
Hey guys, listen. Do you have any non-dairy creamer? Oh, that's a great. That's
Here's my credit card.
And also committing prank phone calls. Classic. Yeah.
Very British.
Also, I just realized he changed his name to Harry Horse because his name was Dickhorn.
Wow,
Richard Horn. His name was Dickhorn.
I
From
can't
one
believe
should've
winner straight
owned
to
it.
another.
I can't
Yeah.
believe how much I've read that and written that name.
Yeah.
Like in the last like 2 or 3 weeks, and I never drew either of
I
those
guess
connections.
you're not a child, Randy. I guess you're not a child like the rest of us. With our brains in the gutter. Yeah.
At age 18, he moved to an apartment in Edinburgh. He spent his afternoons there sneaking into college art classes while dressing as a local student. That's nice.
How old?
Wait, how do you dress?
18.
Okay.
How do you dress as a look? Did he like
He was
have a
undercover.
disguise?
Yeah,
or
It was in Scotland, so kilt, bagpipes, haggis.
yeah, bag full. I assume it comes in a bag. Bag full of haggis.
19-year-olds will never suspect me, an 18-year-old, of not being a college student.
Yeah, he did the 3 kids in a trench coat trick. Yeah, except they were like 18 feet tall.
You go to you go to your like your school's like bookstore or whatever, and you buy a bunch of their jerseys and whatnot, and then you just walk around. Nobody would suspect you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I don't think anybody, if you someone like, I confess, I'm not actually a student here. I'm fairly sure they would just look and be like, who the fuck cares? Like, it's just like,
Yeah.
it's like, are you paying tuition? No, then you won't get a degree. Go away. It's like you can do whatever you want.
Information is
Or
free.
just sit here. If you're gonna be quiet, just sit here. Who
Yeah,
cares?
if you're gonna be quiet. No, that was the way at Stevens because it was like the campus was almost like a park that people forgot that it was actually a private institution, and so when they had to close it down, sometimes people would complain to the city that like, hey, I can't, like they're blocking off Stevens for some reason. It's like they're like, yeah, it's a college, they can do that if they want.
See, now you can just go on YouTube and there's like entire courses that are like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, PragerU, my favorite.
Oh
no, not that one.
no.
He also had to do whatever he could to save money because he soon became strapped for cash. At one point, he even sold his fridge and stove, but not his record collection. Yeah.
Priorities.
He did this rather than ask his parents, Derek and Josephine, for help. Any dollars he did manage to accumulate went into art supplies over living
Please.
supplies.
Please, pounds.
Pounds. Oh my
Pounds,
God.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Also, so far, I
Now
mean,
that's punk. I mean, other than he had wealthy.
well, I was gonna say, it's like, so far has he just been kind of eccentric and mischievous? Has he done anything?
just independent. No, he nothing nefarious yet.
Okay, nothing nefarious. I like him so far.
Yeah.
I probably won't later.
It's up and down. We'll get there, but yeah. So this was also where he adopted the aforementioned pen name to reinvent himself, and quickly became a respected author, illustrator, political cartoonist, and musician. By 1983, his first book saw its debut, Ogopopo: My Journey with the Loch Ness Monster. Combining the two lake monsters
Bless
from
you.
folklore. This artie would declare his fascination with the paranormal and supernatural.
I'm sorry.
Totally get it.
You said two. Ogopopo is a cryptid?
Yes, Ogopopo and Loch Ness Monster are two different.
I've never heard of
yeah.
Ogopopo.
Obviously, yeah, I know what that is, but for our listeners, could you fill us in?
I think it's Canadian.
I'm gonna Google
I think it's another serpent.
Oh, so it's very nice, though.
I don't know about benevolent.
I just assume it's in Canada. You know,
Yeah.
just to settle down somewhere nice.
It sold decently. Plus, he was awarded the Scottish Arts Council Writer of the Year commendation for Ogopopo.
I looked it up.
Ogopopo. Sorry, that's fun to say. Yeah.
It looks like the Loch Ness Monster. Well, it's more snake-like than the Loch Ness
Where's it
Monster.
based?
Where
is
is
it
it?
also?
Canada.
Hey, I was
Oh,
right.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And supposedly he scored the print run for it by phoning the publisher and posing as an agent to recommend himself as a client, scoring an interview. So
Wow.
pretty
You
slick.
could just do that?
Not that this was the single instance of him role-playing to achieve his goals. He'd assumed the identity of dealers, journalists, business associates. The list goes on.
Yeah,
Fake it till you make it.
yeah. Back in the day when all you needed was a couple phone numbers, you could be all of your own references. It's fine. There's no internet to cross-check anything.
He then wrote the last ... quote unquote series of novels, a humorous collection starring a fictionalized version of his adorable dog Rue. And I used to do that as a kid. I used to put my doggies in my doodles and stories. But this proposed the concept of recounting the lives of a final group of animals pre-extinction. Philippa Milner Smith, which might be the publisher he fooled, said he had exceptional talent.
Okay.
It's cute. I've seen some of like the drawings from, but a lot of his early stuff is like kids' work. But his entry on polar
Oh,
bears
it doesn't stay there?
well, no, based on what we watched of that game, yeah.
This already sounds like the setup to like a like a high concept TV show, someone who is very eccentric but highly competent doing something, and it's just like the setup to any high concept, like, you know, primetime.
And kind of
TV
a cool
show.
guy so far.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, and it's just like
It's
anyway,
a while, and you'll
yeah,
see why
yeah,
too. But
yeah.
so his entry on Polar Bears was even adapted into a 30-minute animated short and featured the voice of Nigel Hawthorne. It was broadcasted on CITV, a children's early morning programming block, and later a touring theater production in Scotland, I think in the 2000s. It also was expanded upon and won a Nestle Smarties Book Prize.
What?
Needlessly branded prizes are my favorite. Of course, the Smarties. Why not?
Wait, Nestle. Oh, okay. Not like it was just Nestle's. It wasn't like Nestle partnered with Smarties. Never mind.
No,
Yeah.
Nestle makes Smarties.
Yeah.
In Europe, there's a candy that is like M&M's. It's chocolate coated in candy coating called Smarties. They're not American.
I was thinking of
Smarties.
the...
Not the delicious chalk treat.
Yeah, not the
I love
sugary
American
chalky
Smarties.
thing. Those are American Smarties. European Smarties are just M&M's under a different name made by Nestle.
Oh,
Oh.
well, I learned something new.
Then in 2003, the books were given another Scottish Arts Council award. So he's ranking them in. In 87, he'd shift into the political cartoon stuff, contributing for such newspapers as Scotland on Sunday and The Scotsman. Just picturing Willie from The Simpsons.
Wait, was that the outlet that you were looking at before, the Scotsman?
Yes.
Yeah.
You saw that on my computer and you're like, what are you doing?
I was just like,
I'll
yeah.
explain later.
I was like, is this like competing with the New Yorker or something like that? The Scotsman, the Federalist, yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
It's just the New Yorker, super pretentious, but it's written in Scottish English.
Just printed on plaid paper.
I can't speak on his views, although he is publicly on record as growing increasingly upset at the handling of the war in Iraq, along with the tensions regarding global warming. So he'd likely, be on our side. Oh, I'm with this. Yeah,
Left of
All
center,
right.
probably.
Yeah, like Matt's been saying so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can tell you the tunes were positively received for their non-traditional nature. His drawings being called colorful, intense, meticulous, darkly comedic, satirical, and angry. He eventually left that job in 1992, except he did continue to draw, regularly partnering with The Guardian, The Sunday Herald, The Observer, The Independent, and The New Yorker until his,
Yeah, wow.
we'll get...
James' whole color scheme.
Can't tackle that yet because it's time for video games. Or wait, no.
Oh,
I meant psychobilly bluegrass music.
Okay,
Oh.
all right.
It's easy to confuse the two. I understand why you messed up.
Specifically the band Swamp Trash, for which he
Incredible.
Good.
for which he was the singer, the lead singer, banjoer, and frontman of.
That rules.
Yeah, I listened
yeah.
to a couple tracks. It's not particularly my jam, but I can respect it. So here's a sample for you guys.
Oh.
Yeah. All right.
I'm into it.
And they're really hanging on that.
Not bad. Yeah, I like it.
That's Swamp Trash. They're like dead drop kick Murphys esque. I don't know.
Yeah.
They do have a Ring of Fire cover that ain't too shabby.
I can totally see that based on what you just played.
Yeah, right. Hold on, let's see if I can get that one for you guys as well.
Is it better than the Bad Religion Ring of Fire?
Wait, do you mean the Social Distortion?
Social
Ring of Fire?
Distortion, yeah.
I don't think that's terrible.
I don't know.
No, I love the Social Distortion Ring of Fire cover. That's what I'm saying.
It's
I'm waiting for us to get to the end of the story, and you're just like, that guy, by the way, super chill, still making music, still writing. He's a nice
He's just
guy.
been fucking
bad
with
news
us
for
this
you.
whole lead up.
Yep.
Yeah, happy Halloween. It's an interesting way to take.
Interesting interpretation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm glad that they're able to express their own version of it.
Yeah, stick with the original, but
Yeah, I was gonna say
the originals, I should say.
no one was asking for Ring of Fire 2.0. It was already good song.
No DMCA on that clip. No DMCA.
That was less of a cover and more of a
We talked over it. It's transformative now. Fair use.
Reinterpretation.
it was more like it was reinterpretation of just the lyrics, and it's like I like the first song better.
So they released an album and an EP. It Makes No Nevermind and Bone. That was the first song I had. It's also said that they were, quote, crucial to the development of the experimental Scottish acoustic scene.
There was one other band.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, of course. My favorites wouldn't have been ever made.
Yeah, it's so specific.
Well, how do you make acoustic experimental? That's what I want to know.
Yeah,
7-string guitars.
You just play play your ukulele with like weird shit, like I don't know, like a stalk of celery or something instead of an actual bow. I don't know, like boom.
It was Lee, them, and a band in Aberdeen. That was it. That was the entire scene.
The group did split in 1990 and reformed without Horse as Shugal Nifty.
Now,
Wow.
Did you build like a playlist out of this?
Yeah. So this is what they sound like.
it's like someone put a banjo over 90s, like. Oh no.
Now it's Floggy Molly.
It's
Right. They really don't know how to end like that would have been a cool break for maybe 2, man.
Yeah.
They got into a serious thing and they forgot how it ended.
Yeah.
I agree with your assessment. I'm like, I actually think it sounds pretty fun, but they don't know how to end like the break.
By the way, all of these tracks that I pulled up are like 7 minutes long.
I mean,
course.
yeah,
You
you're
gotta keep that energy.
they're meant to be
going.
played in a pub and you're
Yeah,
like
that's
drunk,
true, that's true, that's
dancing,
true.
and you're not paying
I
that
know.
close of attention.
I think when Harry left, they lost the edge.
And Shugal Nifty is still at it today.
Hell yeah,
good
for them.
Congrats,
30 years of Shugal Nifty.
Shugal Nifty. If you're listening,
It's still,
keep on rocking. Good,
right?
Good job.
I'm all
okay?
I'm all about that.
Yeah,
I like
am
it.
too.
Yeah.
I like that.
The best thing for the ex-vocalist to come out of that venture, though, was that it was during this era in '89 that he would meet a fan, later his partner and then wife, Amanda Williamson, a fish packer and auxiliary nurse. What's that? It's an auxiliary.
Is that like a nurse? Is that like a nurse
aid?
practitioner or something in
Maybe
Probably,
it's,
yeah.
it might be a
overseas?
thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
thing over
I
there,
don't think
yeah.
it's a thing here. I could be wrong, but
They married in 1991. According to those close to him, he was absolutely enamored with her, becoming the center of his life, and finding love. Great. However, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows.
uh-oh. Here we go. There we go.
Horse was also prone to sudden bursts of rage. This recounted by his coworkers and bandmates alike, with them recalling violent tirades that seemingly occur completely at random. This polarity pushing many away.
So you're saying he was a chill dude until he met his wife?
I was not implying that.
I'm just saying it's like
It kind of does sound like he implied that,
Well,
huh?
in fact, so and to comment on that, a bulk of his rants tended to be directed at art dealers who he publicly exclaimed were, quote, the parasites of the art world, profit, margin-obsessed, greedy individuals with no true understanding of art.
Okay,
He's
you want me
not-
back.
And sure,
Yeah,
no,
I mean,
those
he's not
types are
wrong.
out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just took it to an extreme degree with the unpredictable behavior. But Amanda's presence kept him in control, with her stillness being described as a counter to his volatility.
You know what? I'll say it this way. Maybe she was a chill chick until she met him. There you go.
There-
I'll do it both ways.
very egalitarian. I
thank
appreciate
you.
that,
I
Matt.
didn't want to imply it was only one way. It sounds to me like they didn't bring out the best in each other.
An auxiliary nurse is a nurse's assistant.
That makes
So
sense.
it's
Yeah.
somebody who's not
They're
registered.
working their way up.
They're not a registered nurse, but they're allowed to do nursing duties under the supervision of a registered nurse.
Yeah, them in the medical
So
scribe.
that's
Okay.
that's all.
Okay, I got to comment
That's not
on
your
this too. It's like that combination where you said he was volatile and she was stable, and they kind of,
That's what their friends were
I mean,
saying.
that can be a good recipe sometimes. Was it not in this case, Randy?
So we're now
segue.
jumping ahead to the mid-90s.
No marriages were great. Then.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say
games.
rockin' time. Everyone's got like tons of money. It's right.
Oh,
It's great,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Nirvana's on the rise.
Cloud
Nothing's
nine.
going to stop them.
No, they're mid,
95, Dave.
Mid-90s, yeah. On the rise.
We're not.
Nothing's
We're
gonna stop
not. We're not in
New York.
95 just yet. So Matt,
But do you have something to tell me about Nirvana? My favorite band ever? I've only gotten to 94 in their discography, so.
We'll have a talk after the podcast.
But they had that song come out in like 04, right? Like that's.
They still have shit getting re-released,
I know.
remastered, and
I mean, Dave Grohl will never find better, so it's fine.
yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah, you're on there. Matt, what would you say was the most popular title for the personal home computer around then?
Was it Myst?
Yeah.
I was gonna just say a joke, but I'm just like, it's Myst.
You couldn't pull up like Postal or anything.
No.
Yeah, at least Leisure Suit Larry.
Yes, later on, finally.
What year is this?
Well, we're in 94.
So right,
Doom then.
so
Doom was 93.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Myst
That had longer legs.
Myst continued to sell for many years and was at the top of the charts for years until The Sims came out. That's what topped it.
Wow, that got dethroned in 2000?
2000, yeah, that was 2000.
2000, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it
I bought Myst at the Scholastic Book Fair, installed it, played it for 5 minutes, and then threw it out.
Yeah, I think most kids did. I didn't.
Not
though.
you.
Not me.
You
I
chipped
liked it.
away at those walls. So Myst, the point-and-click puzzle sensation, truly revolutionary for the field, with its influence still frequently being seen today. And Harry Horse, he was a fan too. This, along with The Seventh Guest, another adventure game presented in a similar fashion.
I thought about that one so long.
Except with a heart twist.
Also, I just
They made a 11th Hour, I think, was also the sequel to that.
Okay, I just realized that
He
pointing out
super dug him.
his name. Okay, is his name a reference to that Beatles song, Mr. Kite? About a circus? Harry the Horse?
Potentially. I mean,
That's all I think of when I think. I'm probably like one of the...
fantastical something of Mr. Kite.
Yeah,
Is
for
that
the
what you're talking
benefit
about?
of Mr. Yeah.
The benefit of Mr. Kite. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
I know the song and not.
It's from Magical Mysteries.
Of course,
That's why
it is.
my mom just listens to. Still listens to White Album on loop.
Oh,
it's
because
just
White
like
Album
it is-
slaps.
yeah, I know. It's like White Album.
Significantly better.
Yeah.
I think
of
I'm
all
like,
the Beatles albums,
That's probably the weakest,
forgettable
is-
one. Yeah.
Is the magical mystery school bus?
I was gonna say I think I'm the only person that remembers that.
Is that the head the Octopus's Garden? Is
Yeah,
that what
I believe so.
That is. I hate that song.
I know. That's why it's
And
the
the
best
other
because
one,
it's
what's the other,
Ringo. We're the
Wacky
best
Ringo
Beatle.
one?
Yeah, of course.
I forget. That doesn't have Within You Without You though, right? The one that's like backwards, because that song rolls. Anyway, sorry. Harry Horse, big fan of Myst. In fact, when he dove into them in 1994, inspiration struck. For you see, prior to his Ogopogo book, there was another project of his that never quite got the attention he wished for, thanks to legal trouble. The writings were of a phony manuscript, a concept that wouldn't just help propagate the conspiracy of ancient aliens, but one that would gradually turn into the basis for Drowned God.
Ooh.
Was this like a marketing stunt? Like he circulated like a fake manuscript?
It's difficult to say, like to pinpoint what the intention was. But what was this exactly? The forgings in question basically document the events following the destruction of Atlantis. It was backdated as being from 1846 rather than 1983, and stated it was written by British or English poet Richard Horne, famous for the poem epic Orion. Oh, and they also shared the same birth name.
Yeah.
So that's
I was
tricky.
going to say, did he just name that one after himself?
Okay.
So he found somebody who had his exact name and then took that as a pen name. That's the wrong way to do it.
Yeah, right?
Also, okay, so I think it sounds like it might have just tried to be just a good old fashioned hoax. Just something to get people riled up.
And it especially like since it managed to trick experts into believing it was genuine when it was submitted to examiners for verification. I don't know who you contacted in that.
Later, I gotta be honest, we didn't even look at it.
It was like ufologists or like the time travel equivalent of that. Like what? Who was doing that?
That line of work. The period chosen was when Horne was alive and active. It was pretty in sync with his interests as well. The mention of the Sons of God legend, although Horse later clarified that he wasn't aware of those details till long after. Horse's fascination with alternate history came when he encountered a professor, Ian Halpke, who explained to him that there were clues embedded within the Kabbalah and other old Jewish texts that quote, hide these encipher and the secret. The hide and encipher the secret.
The secret? Like the book?
So
That's what I heard.
Envision the conspiracy and it will become real.
So this is what's brilliant about conspiracy types. It's like provide some false like primary document evidence that has like enough of a framework, and it's like the theorists will do the work for you. They will fill it with their bullshit, and it's like you can just that's it. Like one thing could be like a part of a bunch of different sort of occult circles and conspiracy circles.
So that's actually the thing I wanted to clarify. So you're saying he wrote a manuscript, submitted it as true to an expert, and then another expert said, I know this is true because this other conspiracy text backs up things in the fake conspiracy text you just handed me?
You're making my head spin, but I...
Like, so
and that's what everyone else said too when they were just like, okay, yeah, we'll go along with this.
Or they were taking a poet's work and he was like reimagining it, but also literalizing it at the same time.
But so like, what you said was another expert came and said, this makes sense because of what's in the Kabbalah, which is a real text and is used in conspiracy theory circles. So essentially, he created something.
This was the professor that he said that he would like, because people asked him, they're like, "Oh, there's a lot in common with this other person that you're saying that this is written by," and he's like, "I don't know anything about that. It was this other professor that actually inspired it."
Oh, okay,
yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't a third party. He was manufacturing his own verification.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got it.
Kind of like aligns with his old like penchant for just pretending to be whoever the fuck is necessary in his life at that time to be his own hype man or whatever, his own reference.
This guy he seems very resourceful so far. Again, aside from not being great with relationships, it sounds like he's very creative. I guess.
Well, I don't think there's any conflict in their relationship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got you.
But
You said something about her just
about.
She was so still and calm, and that was what balanced him. I just imagined it's like a deer in a headlights sitting on the couch in the living room while he rants about art dealers being crooked.
Yeah, I shouldn't be assuming. I don't have any evidence how how
when you said her stillness, I was like catatonia.
Like Shelley Duvall.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna let that
ahead,
sit for a moment before the secret that we were all aided by ET into constructing the pyramids or whatever, and also that the Ark of the Covenant was a nuclear bomb.
That one I believe.
And that pigs and people share compatible genes. There's kind of a
true.
kernel of accuracy to that, right?
That's
somewhat.
I'm gonna let you guys know. Most mammals share about 99% of
Yeah.
their DNA.
That's exactly where it came
Pigs
from.
can get sunburn, Kay.
It's
I don't know what you're rolling your eyes at.
We're just long pairs.
As we mentioned on our cannibalism episode last Halloween, pigs are the closest to what humans taste like. Apparently, I've never had a human, but
I don't know.
apparently humans taste the most like pork.
Hannibal, what's
There's
it?
a reason like tattoo artists will use like
They do.
pig skin
Yeah,
to
they
practice.
Yeah. So what
It's
you're
like the
saying
closest.
is that we didn't evolve from monkeys. We evolved from pigs.
Just the capitalist thing.
I wish. I wish we evolved from
Could you imagine how much easier life would be with cloven hooves?
right, or you could just like grow tusks whenever you. I don't know. You're
Yes.
out. I don't know where I'm going with this.
I mean,
Out in
yeah,
nature for
Leaves me
too
out in the
long.
woods for 2 weeks. I go immediately
If
feral.
you had hooves, you could play that in your swashbuckling Scottish psychobilly band or whatever.
It's true.
I feel like
I'd be great at the washboard.
I feel like architecture would also be much easier. Not so much keeping out moisture and dirt. And it's like we're okay
Keep
with
the
it.
disposable thumbs.
Yeah.
Anywho, this shit got shelved once it was discovered as a hoax. The Stun even landed him with fines when he attempted to sell them as real. And
Can you just sell them as fake?
I don't know. Maybe he's just having a lab. I don't know.
I mean, that's the thing. You wait long enough, people will want to buy them. Ironically,
Yeah. Thankfully, it didn't ruin his reputation, though, as his career did truck on past the controversy. Of course, that may have been what led to the name change. So then a decade goes by. He gets the thought that perhaps an interactive game in this style could be the perfect avenue to finally blow the dust off his theories and unearth them to the world. Because despite his infatuation with the visuals and immersion of Myst, he actually didn't care much for its narrative. His pitch was something with a far larger emphasis on lore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I
what that
agree.
was.
In a span of weeks, he would begin to get in contact with folks to make it happen. I can't determine whether any of these messages were grounded in deceit, but luckily for him, the demand for computer adventure titles was hot. As Matt said, Myst did gangbusters, and so did its contemporaries.
I was gonna say there's plenty of lore in Myst.
Yeah, that's true. They made the game like multiple sequels.
The game is literally about books.
Therefore, it didn't take
so boring.
Therefore, it didn't take much to convince a division of Time Warner to invest in the endeavor. Except those plans changed when that office closed, so it instead was handed to Inkscape to fund it. Soon, producer Algie Williams was assigned to the task, and he hired a crew of multimedia artists and programmers to start development with Horse, directing.
This is such the wonderful era of game development where like somebody this insane it just plays Myst and is like, I have an idea, and then they have funding and employees and like, yeah, you be the director. Oh, you're in a weird like Scottish band and wrote a book that got you sued? Sure, make a video game.
You just still get that nowadays. You just your name needs to be Chris Roberts. And
Peter Molyneux. Peter Molyneux.
Yeah.
Peter Molyneux started. We said this on the podcast before too. Peter Molyneux started when he accidentally got shipped computers instead of beans.
That's right. Yeah, that did happen.
We covered this on the Peter Molyneux episode, but his father-in-law was like, he was unemployed, and he was like, you should start a business where you just distribute beans. And so he ordered a bunch of beans, and they sent him computers, so he made Populous.
Hold on. I understand that sometimes you have to deal with like the cards you've been dealt. I want to know who this weird bean baron would have been.
Wait, but was it like
He
one?
would have been selling people beans that don't taste like anything.
Was it just one type of bean?
I think it was baked beans, yeah.
You know what they say, when life
Wait.
shifts you, computers make
I just
Populous.
thought it was like a shit ton of dried beans. So we're like canned, like
No, like canned, I think, because it was in Britain, so I think it was like canned baked beans.
I have more questions.
Like for beans on toast and shit.
Who told him this?
His father-in-law.
Is he married to a Heinz?
No.
Also,
Okay, then who is this bean magnate? What is happening?
He didn't make the beans. He was just going to ship the beans.
If I hear the word beans one more time, I'm gonna you're all driving me
also,
nuts.
I like how his business plan wasn't, I guess I'm just a PC salesman now. He just said, I'm going to use the PCs. I'm going to
Be a developer.
Yeah,
It's
be a
easy.
developer.
Yeah, make one of the most important games of all time.
Which actually begs the question, was he just going to eat the beans when he got them?
I mean,
he wasn't even going to sell them.
I was going to eat the computer chips.
He's gonna innovate on
it's
the
like
beans.
early drop shipping. Like I still don't understand this business model.
So many of the employees were fresh off the heels of their foray into CDI territory.
Hell yeah.
Woo! This previously from Epic Multimedia Group Limited, formerly Epic Multimedia Limited, formerly Epic Performance Improvement Limited, later the Epic Multimedia Group Limited, then the Epic Interactive Media Company, then Wavesong Limited, then LEO Learning Limited. Jesus Christ. LEO, who still exists, by the way.
Like,
that was a...
wait, like the electric? No, yeah, it's yellow. Never mind.
Yellow,
Never mind.
that's yellow.
Never mind.
Yeah,
Close.
They made Drowned God, and then they made Mr. Blue Sky.
I don't know if anybody on any of the staff members here got killed by a hay bale rolling down a hill or whatever. That was...
What?
That yellow guy died?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Game development.
Rogue hay bale? Like a rogue wave? Or like what?
I think it was like a hay bale that was probably like the size of like,
Yeah.
like a truck. And I think it hit his car.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh.
That is the definition of your time to go.
Yeah.
Man, dude, game development over in the UK is just like, it's such a wild story.
So these
I
guys
dodged 16 hay bales on my way to work today.
You just see them driving down the road. They're like rolling down the hill. It's like an obstacle
Just
course.
cows
That's how
surfing
they get
on
all
them.
their ideas for like, like the puzzle action games like that where you have to dodge them.
They're just like they're like this wasn't like an action set piece. This is just a regular drive to work.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was
You guys
this was a novella. This is a memoir.
Yeah.
Frogger, based on a true story.
Yeah.
No, this is epic, but not that epic. So they did Soundtrap, an educational software that hoped to teach children the core principles of proper audio application via playable lessons. After there was
Wait.
Yeah.
Audio application? For children?
That was
wait,
what the description read on.
Yeah, that's what I played to learn how to mix this podcast.
Yeah, wait, like This isn't like a bunch of kids wanting to be YouTube
I don't know.
influencers.
Audacity for toddlers?
Yeah, what?
This is the early 90s.
What an idea.
Why?
After there was
He
Shipwreck.
was a time traveler. Like,
Yeah, inspired by Mario Paint.
This isn't him. This is the company that is being hired to make Drown God. This is their prior repertoire. So the Shipwreck, this was another edutainment product to help the youngins learn about electricity and magnetism.
Through the story of the Titanic.
yeah, wait, it was Shipwreck? It was the name of
That
it?
was what it was called.
Okay.
Well, lastly, we have Thumbelina, an FMV title that tells the story of Hans Christian Andersen through excerpts and stills from the Don Bluth film.
I was going to say, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, and all were CDI. So Drown God is quite a step, up in
Dude,
the
Oh my god.
I changed degrees when I had to take electricity and magnetism.
Yep,
I
that'll
don't
do
know
it.
how the hell you teach that to kids.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like 30 something and it's just magic. I don't care.
Complicated.
Yeah. I was gonna make an insane clown posse joke, but
Magnets, how do they work? I don't know.
I will say this: I have studied E&M and done a little bit of quantum stuff. It's like when you get to a certain level, it kind of you just assume kind of magic because you're like why is there a speed limit to the universe? Why is there like a max speed?
It's all
You're just
theoretical
like, okay.
too.
Yeah.
So it's like, you go on to get your PhD in theoretical physics. You no longer think like a normal human.
Yeah, no,
it's it's what I've heard from other physicists.
Yeah.
Get your degree and then you're just no longer fun at parties.
Yeah. Well, in what universe does this physics work? None of them. That's why it's theoretical. It's like I'm just making it up as I go.
So Horse remained tight with designers Inigo Orduna and Anthony McGaw, spending 6 months building the foundation for it, to then after walk the modelers and animators through his vision right up to the finishing touches. Williams also brought on John Morris and Chris Maslanka, a renowned puzzle expert whose input was told to be, quote, fiendishly difficult.
Great.
Yeah.
Let's just make this more arcane.
Rounding out the staff, there was also Greg Bolton, a sculptor that worked on the Peter Gabriel Sledgehammer video.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
Okay.
right?
Now you're speaking my language. All right.
And you can tell a little when you watch footage of this thing in action, like the stop motion characters.
Oh, yeah.
and whatnot.
That music video creeped the fuck out of me
It's
as
all
a kid.
creepy, but kind of rad, yeah.
Yeah.
The soundtrack that you pointed out, Matt, was composed by ambient music duo
Because you weren't worried about SEO back then.
Miasma.
I thought their name was Ambient Sound too. Sorry.
That's gonna be my next side project.
Sorry, my pause there, I guess, fucked that all up. Divisive, albeit very fitting. Originally, Williams S. Burroughs was scheduled to perform the narration for the game.
What?
God.
That was till he passed away before recording was done.
Oh my god.
Randy.
He was actually gonna do it.
Yeah.
Randy, this sounds like a good plug for our the episode we did on I Have No Mouth and I'm a Scream.
Yes.
This was the mid-90s, and it was the multimedia era, and a bunch of authors were like starting to digitize their works in video games. They're obviously
Yeah.
Not far off from Ellison doing a game. Yeah.
Yes, Harlan Ellison, and also Douglas Adams famously made 2 games that
What was
were
the
that
one
he
that
was
like brought
making.
up that Geiger did the artwork for? Because that was another.
God.
Fuck yes.
Yeah.
Damn, yes, Geiger, yes.
Check out our I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream episodes on that.
That is,
Last
if you
Halloween.
like Giger's artwork, he contributed his art to Cyber Dream's first project, and it is gorgeous.
Yeah.
And it's
It's
actually
really
it's
neat.
intensely dark game.
Yeah.
It has a lot of fail states. It's
And Play No Mouth as well.
Yes.
These games were wild.
But yes, this was an era where authors were kind of embracing the whole digital era thing, and a lot of them did say they liked it.
Yeah.
You would think them not being techie people, they would hate it, but they actually
they definitely embraced it.
They
at the
embraced
time.
it because they loved. They wanted to see what and it's like a lot of great
what
works.
the medium could do.
Yes.
Also, Harlan Ellison did the voiceover.
That's
for
yes.
I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, and he's amazing.
Yeah, Harlan
Yeah.
is in the. He's the
He
best.
sounds deranged.
Harlan is the
It's
best
great.
part of that game. Listening to him talk, it sounds like he is having so much fun
Yeah.
playing an
He's
evil
hamming it
computer.
up.
Yeah, he is. Yes, he does a great job. Yeah.
Aside from that, like Burroughs passing away, the production went relatively smoothly. No hurdle too big for them to resolve. And so, on Halloween 1996, Yeah,
That's perfect.
Drowned God saw its launch. Windows 95, baby. A Windows 3.1 version was intended, but eventually scrapped. The box featured a giant Gray's head with the phrase "Unlock 40,000 years of lies" next to it. All caps.
Wait, 40,000 people haven't. Well, civilization hasn't been around for that long. Who was lying?
Early humans.
Early
Not-
humans,
No,
yeah.
we were just. It was just humans at that
I
point.
don't know.
Wait, 10,000 years
Raptors,
ago?
they
Wait, I
can
forget
make up some
exactly.
shit.
But even
Dude,
our ancestors, I don't know.
Don't
Played
be-
Assassin's Creed. There's a precursor race that made the apples of Eden.
You ever see Prometheus?
Yeah, ever play Halo?
Was it just? Wasn't that God? Didn't God do that? According to
Oh, God doesn't.
He's
Assassin's
been drowned,
Creed-
Kay.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed is a very anti-Christian game, even though Ubisoft won't admit it.
So you know what? Back then they were saying like, don't believe Big Ice Age. The glaciers are a lie. Okay,
Right?
you ever see them? Yeah.
weren't they like going into an ice age?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Well, that was it. They're just like, dude, they're like, everybody's saying move south. Everything's going to be under ice. Okay. They just want me to move. Okay.
Is his whole thing like Scientology but less lame?
Yeah.
Because that's the whole point of
Bro.
Scientology is that like aliens came to Earth first and fucked with everything. And
This shit's way cooler. I'll get at that. It also rocked a fat M rating from the ESRB for naughty words. One of the first.
Ooh, that's all.
Yeah.
Wait,
no,
wait.
yeah, I know. We saw Donger and
Not even that.
like the
I'm
first
just-
5 seconds. And
Did they not
Tits
care
and
about actual
violence.
thematic anything back
so
then?
me and Matt and my roommate Alfred recently, we've been playing Harvester, and I was telling you about it where I was like, the process in which games were rated back then was so fast and loose because they didn't play anything. It would be a packet, and the developer would be like, "This is what's in my game," and then they would believe it, like they take it as gospel, and then unless they got in trouble, and like nobody said anything, they'll be like, "This is fine," and it's like nowadays that it's much more like. The magnifying glass is a lot larger.
Oh, absolutely.
I would say that defining point is everything post hot coffee, which we discussed. Because like even throughout the 90s and early 2000s, game ratings were mostly inaccurate. Now they're pretty.
You don't get to be like a multi-billion dollar industry and not get under the lens, essentially.
Yeah.
There's also like movies. There's like a counting that needs to happen if you're going to make your movie PG-13 versus R.
Yes. How many fuck words?
Yeah.
Got one.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas
it's an R-rated podcast.
Like all the best-selling video games are, well, they're for kids, but most of that list is M-rated.
Yeah.
Because nobody cares.
Actually, and it's funny now. It's like the teen rating is probably like lesser used. You're either making a kiddie game or you're making.
Should I like not have my nephew listen to this podcast? Is that what we're saying?
No, we need the numbers. Tell him that.
Yeah.
Just tell him to play it on loop.
So it passed certification and boom, they're ready to roll. Went gold. So in total, 85 people are listed in the credits. This was no small affair.
That's a big development team for 95.
Yeah. Inscape, the distributor, Drowned God was their 6th and final release, succeeding The Dark Eye, a horror game that toured you through the works of Edgar Allan Poe, and did host the voice of Burroughs pre-death. Guess that explains the connection, like they knew him, the publisher. What is it? Then there's The Resident's Bad Day on the Midway, a circus-themed detective mystery title from the, quote, infamous and anonymous rock and roll band / performing arts troupe.
What?
No fucking.
What the fuck did you just say?
I told you guys this company was weird with their selection.
It was Ambient Sound Duo's first soundtrack.
Ravage DCX, a futuristic camera driver rail shooter. I wonder if we can get these anywhere. They sound fucking crazy. Assassin 2015, another sci-fi FPS, but more arcade.
The distant
The
future.
Prequel to Assassin's Creed.
But then this one I wanted to stop on for a sec because I've been trying to track down a copy of this for a while. Devo presents The Adventures of Smart Patrol. Which I can't even define. Just look it up. There's a whole companion album that was recorded with
Holy
it.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, something tells me. Okay, ready?
I gotta hunt that.
Games written by authors, pretty okay. I have a feeling game written by
bands?
By band.
You think it's got to be better than Kiss's Psycho Circus or the Aerosmith Revolution X? Yeah.
What about Moonwalker?
Moonwalker.
Yeah.
Moonwalker's great.
Oh my god, dude, Randy, this cover is horrifying.
Oh yeah. Turn it around just so they can see.
Let me see.
Okay, here you go.
Yeah.
Follow me,
The cover of the Adventures of Smart Patrol.
Whoa. Whoa.
You know what's funny?
Got
Dear
too?
you
listener.
Austin.
Yeah.
Wow, you just look at this and you're just like, clearly this cover was designed for kids. Oh no,
No,
God.
it is not. There is I'm pretty sure that is also M-rated. There's like a whole section at a mental hospital where you're like all the characters are like dancing and eating shit or something. I forget.
Oh my god, it looks like a children's game though.
Yeah, don't be fooled. So back to the game itself, though. Drowned God. Now, I think it's important that we do our best to paint a picture of what this experience even is prior to the reporting on its its reception in numbers.
I would just like to point out that I've found a screenshot on my abandonware for the Devo game, and it just says the Brainwasher, and it looks like a game show thing.
Oh,
Hell yeah. Okay. So we did watch a little of a YouTube no commentary run. One day we'll sit down with this for real. That was the initial plan, but it's been a busy week, so please forgive us. To put it simply, imagine Myst, your POV overlaid with a point-and-click interface. You navigate your way about the 3D environments, activate switches, gather objects, manage your inventory, solve puzzles to progress forward. And I don't mean that as derogatory. It's fairly engrossing looking. There's memory challenges, mazes, interactions and sequence, competitions with NPCs. Much of it is non-linear, meaning you can go to places and conquer obstacles in any order. At one point, you need to arrange clips of dialogue between statues of Isaac Newton and Albert Einstein in an effort to chronologically form a coherent conversation. We saw.
Oh, that's what that was. Okay.
Yeah. There's loads of cutscenes, complete with VO, that are rich and with surreal, imagery and bizarre animations. All in all, I think it's like How Long to Beat noted as taking around 2 hours to finish, but that probably varies heavily based on your personal battle with figuring shit out.
Yeah,
I'm dumb. So
if you have a walkthrough, maybe.
The people who would report their times to How Long to Beat know what they're doing. It seems like you
Yes.
can beat it in 2 hours, not you will beat it in 2 hours.
Yeah. Okay, so the story. Fuck.
We watched a bunch of this, and I don't even know what we saw. So this will be great.
I get to spare you from your usual duties today.
Thank God.
So
I think I would die.
Yeah, is there a novelization? Of-
Yeah. Well, yes, there's a manuscript.
manuscripts.
yeah. That's
But can you get that in as large a print as you got for the Spirits Within?
They're on slabs.
Golden plates.
Yeah. So, Drowned God's overall mission is enlightenment. To free you from a false existence, convince you that mankind has been manipulated to cover up the real facts. The truth being that aliens from the Orion constellation, Orion comes again, in space seeded humanity on the planet thousands of years ago and have guided us ever since. Then the advanced civilization got eradicated in the Great Flood. They mix various ideologies here. The contents of the Library of Alexandria was lost. Inside was what Harry Horse calls, quote, forbidden knowledge, knowledge that was kept and protected by the Knights Templar. Sup, Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Members among that were multiple historic luminaries, your Leonardo da Vinci's and Sir Isaac Newton's. Jumping ahead to the 20th century, the Philadelphia experiment. Read that urban legend; it's fun.
Yeah, I've heard it a million times. Yeah.
Opened a portal into another dimension, which that's what you were saying, Dave. Which liberates the extraterrestrials. In game, they are referred to as the Legion.
Wait, liberates from where?
I thought
they were under the ocean.
I think they were trapped in a different plane of
So the Great Flood was both physical and metaphysical. They were great flooded right off of the planet into a different plane.
Anyway,
Listen, I tracked everything you said up until this point. This is the first thing that I find
Dave,
confusing.
Yes.
So
Perfect.
then there's something with the Illuminati, a top secret government organization who's been in communication with the Greys since they crashed in Roswell. This is a mouthful. And it's like every conspiracy wrapped into like a single fucking package. They should have thrown in JFK.
I was going to say, the little bit of Zapruder.
Yeah. King Arthur is there though.
He's got to be.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice Templar.
Also, I left out the sections with the Tree of Life. I know you frequently use tarot cards as well. We saw that. In one area, you got to collect artifacts like the Holy Grail, Rod of Osiris, and the Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. And it all amalgamates like multitudes of historical, religious, and fantastical elements.
It just sounds
fiction
like,
and nonfiction.
It just sounds like it sounds like every occult belief kind of just rolled up into one.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Its opening levels, taking inspiration from Hebrew teachings, Roman architecture. You go to the Stonehenge, saw that. Travel by submarine to Mesoamerican ruins. We gotta play this. Later, you come across an underground transit system, a steampunk carnival.
It's called a subway.
Well, no, it looked all like, all industrial, like, and then the carnival, and it each culminates in a rendezvous at Area 51. There are various game over screens. For instance, if you fail to recover the Ark of the Covenant, it turns into a nuclear warhead and detonates.
Okay.
I have apparently that is a common one, a common conspiracy. Is it actually? Dave, you said you made a comment earlier.
Oh, goodness. So
Indiana Jones is the most I know about the Ark of the Covenant.
So I've heard about ancient nuke theories before, not necessarily just the Ark of the Covenant, but I have heard that the Ark was used it was carried into battle by ancient early Christians, Jewish people. I forget exactly. I mean, I guess probably Christians.
I think that is the legend of it.
Yeah, and it would grant...
It's a weapon.
Yes, it would grant victory in battle, and the thought was that it was victory in battle through nuclear apocalypse, not through the glory of God.
Yeah.
Well, or the glory of God is the splitting of the atom. I guess we couldn't really tell.
Wow, this is very
But yes, so there's also like a reason that a lot of people will say that if you look at ancient ruins and you see the staircase down, it looks like they're melted, and this is due to nuclear bombs going off in the past, not necessarily just due to thousands of years of humans walking on things.
Or just erosion?
No. It was nukes. But anyway,
okay, all right.
Now, why is the top still standing? No one cares.
Very low lying nukes.
Yes, exactly.
Like landmine nukes.
And it's the issue is that all of this obviously feeds back into the very, white ethnocentric things of like, oh, I don't understand how these people could have made them, therefore they couldn't without
they didn't
help.
have like pulleys.
Bingo. Okay, that's going to come into...
pulleys or fulcrums.
Yes, exactly. It's like, just because they had to solve problems that I don't.
And enslaved labor. And mass,
What about, don't forget the shadoof, okay? It was an agricultural device.
The shadoof?
Called a shadoof, yeah.
That's a Pokemon.
I was going to say that was the Gen 2 Pokemon. Yeah, evolution of Bidoof.
Everybody forgets the shadoof, okay?
So the game has 3 separate endings, too, each hinging on your decision to enter what chamber representing your allegiance to 2 opposing factions, and one middle option to abstain. Taking side of either alliance results in you being trapped in a different dystopian hellscape for eternity. One is a technological police state, and the other is a forced genetic society. So take your pick. Eugenics, yeah.
Jinx.
What did he say?
They both got the Men in Black monitoring your fate.
Wait, what happens if you just stay neutral?
Well, I think you just sit there, but the clear choice is the center door.
Okay.
That's the alien epilogue that ties it all together. Regardless, the closing voiceover will instruct you that Osiris has been murdered, and that's drowned God. Yeah.
See, that's so...
Wait, is Osiris the drowned god? Is that what you're saying? Or is it God? Is it the Christian god or an Egyptian god?
Yes,
or are they the same thing?
I was going to say, I think that would make the most sense, because if they have both the Ark of the Covenant existing as an actual artifact, but also
nuclear
Osiris.
Device, and
it's
then,
like what's that game? Forgotten City.
Oh yeah,
that's so cool.
God, the game rules.
Dave, stop giving these people ideas, okay? You're just like, they're just like, that does make sense. Let's write it down.
Listen, I'm a little too steeped in conspiracy lore, so
you're very knowledgeable. I'm impressed.
I'm so sorry.
But
I'm glad I know it's a nuke.
Really, it's the aesthetic and atmosphere that deserves the spotlight. It's eerie as fuck, just a tad obtuse. That description makes it all the more surprising that it sold rather well. 34,000 units out the gate. It even made into the top 10 for gaming sales charts the following month.
In Glasgow, Scotland.
However, by that December, bugs and poor support from the devs led to a significant drop-off post the initial excitement. When its run concluded, it moved over 60,000 copies.
So, wait. So they had that many people on the team? and it shipped with bugs.
Well, I don't know. I mean, this said, how did you guys feel about it from what we watched?
I mean,
It looks sick as shit.
yeah, I mean, it was legitimately eerie.
Yeah.
It not. I mean, in part because it has like that mid to late '90s like janky like
The reason,
Yes,
FMV
it's so
adjacent.
lo-fi. And,
Yeah.
the reason I bring up
And it gets under your
Assassin's
skin.
Creed is because it gave me like, what if the dude that made Assassin's Creed just went insane? That's what it's like. Because it's like Assassin's Creed has the exact same, well, not the exact same, but it has similar lore, but it's very like precise in who it criticizes.
Yeah.
Like you said the thing
It's
about
more
like
vague here.
oh, the Knights Templar are the bad guys, and like Isaac Newton was one of them, right?
Yeah.
And it's like if this was an Assassin's Creed game, he would be an assassin, because they have like, it's like when you play like the Assassin's Creed that took place in London and you bump into Charles Dickens and then he helps you like kill the King of England or whatever. And it's like the opposite of that.
They did get like real big into like the Avengers, but history and
Yeah, it's like Da Vinci's in 2, and then
It's hilarious.
You know what I really? Okay, so I was pointing out like something about like the new age pseudo intellectualism really like just kind of makes my skin crawl, and I just realized, think about it. Okay, you remember at the
it
end?
does look like it's like a VHS that you're being recruited.
Yes.
into something.
So remember at the end of Girl with the Dragon Tattoo where they plays Anya?
Yeah,
Sail Away. You know, as soon as that song comes on, something fucked up's about to happen. Because it's like you just know it's like it just gives me this sense of just like something's not right. Yeah. I can't listen to that song without thinking of Daniel Craig getting strangled.
And the other reviews sort of ran the gambit, frankly. Middling when added together, but it certainly had its defenders. Consensus, more or less, was that it was definitely unique and had ambitious ideas. The graphics were inventive. The storytelling was nothing like anybody had seen. Critique was primarily aimed at the execution and puzzle solving. And its harsh audio didn't jive with every critic either. Vince,
that is one thing I will say, is that everything that we listened to was
Yeah.
incomprehensible.
Yeah.
Both on a content level and an audio level.
it needs to be remastered, is what we're saying.
Yeah.
Get on it.
I'm gonna regret saying that.
yes, you
later.
will, and you know why.
Yeah.
Vince Brody at GameSpot gave it a 6.2, complimenting its visuals and writing. He wrote about how packed it with freakish animations and unexpected twists that were in it. It's, however, he also lamented that a handful of the puzzle solutions were hopelessly difficult, while others were extremely derivative. Some, though, were called brilliant, like the statue one. He then continues to comment on the confusing navigation, this while being forced to revisit locations numerous times. I mean, did you play those old point and clicks? It kind of just sounds like what he's...
It just sounds like Mist.
But the sound design was an issue. Its musical components repeat too often and didn't sit in the mix appropriately, largely due to the background sound effects droning on with it. And we took note of that. He spoke highly of the dialogue and stated it was finally acted, even if you'll, hear them a lot. But I could barely make that. But he concluded his thoughts by specifying how the ending didn't stick the landing, with the site naming it one of the most disappointing games of 1996. Quote, "The great premise is buried like the mysteries of the ages themselves under a mediocre misclone." It's harsh.
Yeah, wow, that's oof.
What else came out in 1996?
Super Mario 64.
Nothing.
Shit.
T. Liam McDonald of PC Gamer was in a similar camp, granting it a nice 69%. Nice. He loved the style and the intellectual approach to the subject matter, but was lukewarm in the rest. More positively, Steve Ramsey of Quandaries scored it 4 out of 5 stars, digging the presentation and entertaining assortment of conspiracy theories. He also thought the puzzles were well integrated, challenging, but not unfair. He always felt that he was marching towards progress and never got lost. So it's kind of like complete opposite of it. The biggest ding from him was that you could barely make out the characters that were saying yes, and that there was no subtitles displayed to read.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
no, that was, god dang. They sound like they're just mumbling the entire time.
Yeah.
Also, I will agree. I'm curious. The puzzles looked intriguing, just from what I saw.
Yeah,
They looked like they were tough.
It received a B+ from Ray Ivey at Just Adventure, who claimed it was, quote, "the strangest, creepiest, most psychedelic adventure game I've yet to come across." Then, and this made me laugh, You might all have to help me. He said he couldn't fucking understand the story, though as long as it made sense to the creators, then it was fine. He did remark how it was a treasure trove for enthusiasts of the genre.
Wow, man, that's a lot of video game creators took that and ran with it.
Right?
Well, it makes sense to me, so
It's
who cares?
very generous of him.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's...
Stephen Levy and Patricia King of Newsweek appreciated this originality and attention to detail, although the majority... Yeah, they used to do video games. Just like Entertainment Weekly. Although the majority of impressions mostly fell in the middle. Entertainment Week, oh, there you go. EW's Bob Strauss gave it a C+, explaining that it tried to be too many things. And this is a good quip. Quote, the result is a game so obscure, you'd be better off pursuing something more comprehensible, like the collected works of Zoroaster?
Oh, Zoroaster?
Zoroaster?
Oh.
Yeah.
Like
I probably butchered the
yeah.
joke that they were making, but
yeah,
I knew it had to be something.
That was the, like pinkies up, deep cut joke.
I was gonna say he could have gone with like Aleister Crowley. No, he
could have gone with a number of.
He just name dropped Zoroaster just like that. Look at that. Yeah, that is some that's pinky up kind of. Yeah, it sounds like the type of guy who would play this game.
Yeah.
Mark Reese and Brooke Adams at Deseret News called it both clever and deep and frustrating and difficult. But all right, you get the picture. Yeah. As time went on, a few opinions would change. Andy Hughes, in a retrospective on Topless Robot, would commend its dedication to literature, and that it was
what a bad name.
I know.
Robot.
Great.
And that it was mashed with befuddling references to Egyptian mythology, the Man in the Iron Mask, and the Bermuda Triangle.
Wow, this really was every conspiracy theory. My God.
Forgot about Bermuda Triangle. I should have said that when you...
Now, hold on. I'm sorry. The Man in the Iron Mask. What? Huh? Why was that?
That was a...
No. I know what that is.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Where
you know.
could this possibly fit in?
You're not
That's what the reviewers
one way to
say,
find out,
I think.
And not, or maybe he said it wasn't like them. So not that he was into the gameplay, with saying it was tedious and ponderous. Outside of this, CNET defined it as, quote, the National Enquirer meets Myst, and nominated it for their annual Best Adventure Game. Except that award ultimately went to the Neverhood. Probably correct. The correct choice there. Yeah.
I hear Neverhood was great.
But that's Drowned God, Conspiracy of the Ages, an oddity that the industry would quickly forget.
It certainly was a conspiracy.
Developer Epic Multimedia Group then soon rebranded, and on February 27th, 1997, publisher Inkscape was acquired by Graphic Zone, with an X for some reason.
Hell yeah.
A company that pretty much exclusively produced Windows Jeopardy titles.
Our favorite.
I don't know, yeah. Yeah, we know. We played the Genesis and SNES ones, right? N64. Meanwhile, our little piece of adventure software faded away. Interestingly, a sequel was supposedly planned. During a GameStop interview with Harry Horse in August of 2000, the man stated that the Ancient Alien story was actually incomplete, and that the rest of your questions were set to be answered in a follow-up named Colt. Matt.
Wow.
Giant capital letters. It'd pick up right where Drowned God left off in Area 51. However, that day would never come. A sequel would never see the light of day. And this, I'm afraid, isn't at all where our episode ends. Obviously, we wouldn't be discussing this if that was the case. So once again, before we carry further, we're going to talk about some depressing and then heinous shit. So, you've been warned. And hell, I'm reminding myself of this because there's an element of, that personally triggers me. I almost chose a different topic because of it.
Oh, God. I have a feeling I know what that is, and I don't like it either.
Going into the early aughts, Harry Horse's personal life was truly crumbling. This had a strong contrast to his successful professional one. Sadly, tragedy would hit him like a brick in 2004. First, it was revealed to him that his wife Amanda was infertile, shattering their dreams of starting a family of their own.
Oh,
treatment was attempted, but then failed.
That's horrible. Jesus.
Yeah. During this, their worst fucking nightmare would then come to light when she officially got diagnosed with an aggressive, rare form of multiple sclerosis. Oh, jeez, I'm sorry, I'm mispronouncing this, but scoliosis?
Multiple sclerosis.
Sclerosis.
Yeah.
Yes.
A horrible, fatal disease that causes your immune system to eat the protective covering of nerves in your body. In turn, Amanda's health rapidly deteriorated. She soon was confined to a wheelchair and was beginning to lose her ability to speak.
Sounds like MS.
Yeah. Having to deal with this realization, as well as the preparations for her inevitable passing, would leave Harry in a hopeless spiral for over the better part of a decade, with their friends remarking on it to him. That said, there were periods where it appeared that he was learning to cope and be diligent to Amanda's needs, even encouraging other sufferers of MS to email her messages of support. The pair then moved around until settling down in a small cottage on the Westborough Shetlands Islands in Scotland near Amanda's family, who assisted in the purchase following financial troubles caused by their medical bills. Despite the harsh winters, the residence did come with a beautiful view of the Atlantic, sitting atop a grassy cliffside hill. They'd adopt a tiny chihuahua and a cat that I saw several photos of but couldn't find the names. At the start, Harry was dedicated to taking care of Amanda and her condition, but eventually the load became too much for him to bear. What made it tougher was his rejection of hospice aid, instead choosing to keep her home so he could continue to spend as much time with her alone as possible, even sharing their bed together knowing that she might be gone at any moment. Controversially, he also had a nagging desire to return to Edinburgh to pursue his creative endeavors. This drought of the arts from his leave of absence from work would make him more and more uninspired. By May of 2006, it was determined by his peers that his demeanor was reaching a breaking point, confessing to his friends that his existence was, quote, a living hell, telling them to imagine what it was like to have to attend to your loving partner's bodily functions.
I mean, a harsh reality. And it's just but yes.
And caregiver fatigue is a real thing. It's not often addressed.
I'm going to ask genuinely now, wait, why were we not supposed to this guy seems like he was...
We're getting there.
And poor Harry, the devastation further piled on with the sudden passing of Rue. It was the last fucking thing he had to be, that had to be taken from him in that emotional state.
Yeah. You know what? I'll be patient because it's seems like so far it's just it's like he was trying his best to take care of his wife.
Yeah. The result of all this misery would soon result in various incidents and reported bouts of fury. He berated a nearby gallery for their, quote, pretentious paintings. He punched a wall of his house during a feud with a social worker who was disputing the terminally ill woman's rights to disability benefits, which honestly isn't the most unreasonable response.
Yeah.
Good social worker.
This is worse. He'd often tear into his family with unfounded accusations, irreparably damaging those relationships until contact was entirely broken. More on that in a bit. But this is so upsetting. Like considering what he was going through, I don't know how I'd be able to process any of this with any level of decorum or calmness. I
empathize with him completely.
Yeah,
I would also be pissed.
Although it certainly wouldn't lead to this. So Harry's downward trend continued, and here is where I get to what I was alluding to above. On January 9th, 2007, two friends from New Zealand dropped in to check on the couple and see how they were doing. During their stay, Harry reportedly was not acting himself. He'd spout troubling phrases such as, quote, "It's a wonderful night for a killing." The erratic behavior frightened Amanda, who pleaded with her visitors not to leave. Against her wishes, they did. I'm not sure either, neither of them could have possibly foreseen the consequence of this, but still, it's fucking scary. Listen to when a person says that.
Yeah.
And just kind of laugh awkwardly and shrug.
And it's she's in a wheelchair. The following morning on the 10th at around 9:40 a.m., those two friends attempted to make a quick pit stop back at the house to retrieve a jacket that was accidentally left behind. Upon driving up, they notice the front door open and proceed to walk in. Rather than being greeted by Amanda or Harry, they instead would shockingly lay sight to the most gruesome and horrifying scene imaginable. The first being that their cat and newly rescued dog were stabbed to death, and just fucking leave the animals at.
Seriously.
Not that far from there, Amanda, age 39, is found on her bed with over 30 knife wounds so deep and so violent that the blade was broken off inside of her body.
Jesus.
Next to her was Harry, age 46, also dead. His wounds totaled to 47, both arms and torso sliced open, along with the utter mutilation of his genitals. The cause of death for all involved was labeled on their certificates as from, you guys might have to help me with this,
exsanguination.
Exsanguination.
Or excessive blood loss.
Bleeding to death.
Yeah. Blood that had been ceremoniously thrown on the floor and surrounding windows and walls.
Like a Jackson Pollock?
Essentially.
What is it?
He was an artist. Yeah.
And, they were frozen, and immediately calling for help. They, the doctor in attendance with the dispatch police said that, that day that they, apparently they left the profession and exclaiming it was the worst sight he'd ever seen. Wow.
Okay.
Now that we're past that horribleness, we can get into the fucking bonkers aftermath. The
aftermath is the bonkers part.
I would just like to say that this story did not go where I thought it was going to go. Like I thought it was going to be a tale of just I don't know, like more like a cult leader type story,
or like a time cube.
Yeah, and it's and I was like, I thought it was going to be a story of, let's say like a charlatan or like a fraudster, and it's like, no, this is this is a story of tragedy. A guy losing his mind because his wife got a debilitating illness. Yeah. That's horrible, and this is the darkest episode I think we've recorded, man.
So the area got closed off, and authorities could start a private investigation. A team of 10 experts were assembled. Forensic scientists, detectives, pathologists, and all flown in from Inverness, Aberdeen, and Grampian. Not that the pieces were hard to put together from what was gathered, it looked cut and dry, seemingly, especially after questioning the two friends. So was it a murder-suicide by a family annihilator? 2 separate knives were used. A man inconsolable who lost control consumed a cocktail of drugs, this noted by a coroner, and shamefully and brutally took the innocent lives of his wife and pets. Evidence of drug paraphernalia was also said to be lying about. But a crime of this nature hadn't happened in the Shetland Islands in 15 years.
Oh my God, they were in the Shetland Islands?
Yeah.
Do you know how remote that is?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was tough for any resident living there to even envision that type of inhumanity. Therefore, the hearsay began to spread. What greatly escalated this were the country's policies on open and even closed cases. Official accounts, evidence details, they're both often withheld from the media or the general public, and not all the rumors were created equal. People did know the pair were dead, though no one, including the district councillor, thought Harry was capable of such malice. So, when local news outlets were preparing a story, the only logical explanation journalists could come up with was that it must have been a Romeo and Juliet-esque suicide pact. Everyone was aware of Amanda's declining health. Everyone also knew of Harry's struggles as a result. He was plenty vocal about his feeling of helplessness in the situation. A potential ticket out for the two of them would be to overdose on the numerous painkillers Amanda was prescribed and quietly fall asleep in each other's arms, clean and romantic.
But he cut off his dick and balls.
Yep. I don't remember that.
Wait, I don't remember.
I'm thinking the news stories. Yeah, like, I think the news stories conveniently left that part out.
Yeah. Literally, there were fucking quotes on how deeply moving the scene was and how it was their final expression of love.
It's moving something.
Yeah.
Yo, listen, there's a difference between trying to give the story some dignity and then actually romanticizing.
Literally.
It.
Yes.
That's you're right.
That's literal romanticization.
Yeah.
So thanks, The Scotsman. At least I think that was the name of the first newspaper, the article on them appeared.
No true Scotsman.
Yeah.
They're romanticizing suicide, which is
and murder.
Better than what happened.
Well, they're romanticizing certainly murder and probably suicide.
You're the one that sat through 13
But that's what I'm
Reasons
saying.
Why,
Like the romantic. Selena Gomez told me not to kill myself for an entire season of that show. No, like I'm saying, like their made up story is that it's like a Romeo and Juliet styles suicide pact. That's what they're romanticizing, which is already bad.
Yeah.
But
they
they don't realize that what they're actually romanticizing is far, far, far worse.
By the way, the writer, Peter Gelman, who did falsely report on that retelling, he later rescinded the article, regrettably clarifying that, quote, "My wife Lenny and I began by investigating what we believed was a poignant love story. We soon realized there was more to it."
Wait,
You're putting that mildly, Peter.
Yeah.
Wait, his wife?
What's up?
Say his wife?
Peter, the person who wrote that.
And his wife.
Yeah.
Why do you throw his wife under the bus?
Splitting the blame.
Yeah, was she that's a good. I didn't think of that.
It was her idea.
Seriously.
I'm just the writer. She researched it.
Yeah, his wife is really into true crime.
Nagged me.
Well, you said this was complicated by their policies for open and closed cases.
Yeah, and we're going to get more into that too.
So are these people reporting before they know the details of the
Yes.
murder?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is just there was a possible murder suicide.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we know.
Well, they were basically like, yes, and then they were like, well, what would it look like if it was the two of them? It'd probably look like this. I don't think they know about the house being decorated like it was a splatter film. So the police stayed tight-lipped. Same with the friends who most assuredly, like those witnesses, that weren't even allowed to speak on it. And this certainly was an easier pill to swallow than the alternative of a grisly murder. There was no will, so no motive could be linked there. Whatever the truth is, plans were actually organized and followed through on by the authorities to bury the couple together side by side. They stated it's what their families would have wanted, which to me comes across as, hiding shit from them.
Well, I mean, there's trying to, again, sanitize a story, which I can understand, and then, actively covering it up.
Yes.
So it could be when people are exposed to something as shocking as this, it sounds like the community could not believe what he had done. It might have been, yes.
Yeah.
It could have been that it's like they were not printing cover-ups. They genuinely thought that it's this is the only possible.
They're not covering anything up because in order to cover something up, you have to know what happened.
Yeah.
They're just speculating. It's all speculation.
The fact that cops were willing to go as far, to allow them to, have them buried together, you said?
Yes.
That to me.
That's a little bit more.
That's the sketchy part. The townsfolk, trying to make sense of this horrific thing, and in their, I say small town, small island, whatever.
Small island, yeah.
This I don't know, this small, presumably tight-knit community experiencing something like this. I can't blame them.
Yeah, I can't.
No, you're absolutely right.
You can see how it all unfolded.
So the gravestones were crafted. A gigantic funeral was in arrangement with a large attendance by the media and local music scene expected, but this was abruptly canceled as the next week on the 15th, an anonymous law enforcement officer would supposedly expose the alleged fabrication to relatives of Amanda, this severely contradicting what was originally told to them by the assigned undertaker. However, by this point, the investigation was already concluded, with full reports confidential and sealed. The department's official ruling still remains controversial in their small town to this day, although it wasn't until British newspaper, the Sunday Times, published their findings a year and a half later in July of 2008. That was when the world would hear about what really went down that night, allegedly. Allegedly.
Yeah.
You have no idea. It's I have so many jokes that pop into my head. I'm I can't say them because this is just such a fucked up story. It's just god dang.
I still manage a joke about dick and balls at least, so I'm happy.
I was gonna make a crack.
You can get away with anything as long as it's funny.
I was gonna say I was gonna make a crack at a closed casket funeral, that sort of thing. It's just I
At one point, Randy said "cut and dry." A couple jokes popped into my head. I did not say them.
Whoopsies. And so this realization was being fronted by George Williamson, Amanda's father. Quote, "This was no suicide pact," he said. "This was murder. She had arranged to go with her mother, Grace, to the dentist the morning they were found." But not everybody took that stance, with some even claiming that this was just a crazy headline written to destroy Horse's reputation as an artist. For example, actor Tam Dean Byrne.
Nice.
What a name.
You made that up.
Tam Dean Byrne,
We call him TDB.
Scotland born and raised, was mostly known for a variety of roles on UK television, such as on Taggart, Life Force, and River City.
Sure.
You're all shaking your heads. I don't get.
I'm not super up on my Scottish
Thank
television
you, I was
in the
about to say,
mid-2000s.
everybody in Scotland knows those.
Coincidentally, he was also a lead singer. This in a post-punk band called Scars. And this is them.
You didn't have to tell me they were post-punk. Stars.
Okay. Okay. exactly what I expected.
Yep. Hey, groovy. That's the best one yet, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I
but
like
also,
that.
it
Yeah,
also,
yeah.
you know, it's like fits my taste more. They sound like The Cure.
Needs more banjos.
Needs more banjos. Well, this dude, he ain't convinced that things would have ended so violently. He thought the Sunday Times piece was, quote, a cruel distortion of events. Plus, it should be said that Tam Dean Byrne did host an hour-long radio memorial tribute to Horse in the week of his death, so maybe he just didn't want to look ignorant or tactless, except if he's wrong, then he now, sounds like a bigger dick. I don't know. It's got to be difficult to accept if true. I get it. But this personally affected him, as despite never meeting Harry in real life, he was enamored with the man. Strongly identifying with his work and politics, they shared literary heroes. He previously had adapted his books to read on the air, and he was developing a solo show based off his newspaper cartoons titled Year of the Horse. The play would be centered on life during the Bush and Blair era and cover the topic of technology being manufactured as a weapon of surveillance. It was even designed to help raise funds for multiple MS charity in Amanda's honor. I literally cannot say that word. I'm constitutionally incapable of it.
It's hard.
My mouth doesn't.
Sclerosis is a hard word.
Yeah, it
to
doesn't-
say.
MS, yeah. Also, so he was defending Harry, saying he wouldn't have done this.
He was an ultimate fanboy, apparently.
I was going to say he sounds like a very unbiased source of judgment. Yeah.
However, this project was then briefly abandoned upon the reassessing that it'd be impossible to disconnect the concept from its associated unpleasantness after it was widely reported. Can't get rid of that dark cloud. Except this decision was then reversed following a discussion with Harry's mother and sisters. Bolstered by the position that nobody will ever know what truly occurred that fateful night, he was a disbeliever in the lone murder theory and maintains that it was a consensual act, but I mean, not that the animals could, Tam. Also, his wife was practically catatonic at that stage.
I was gonna say, I'm not trying to be crass, but legitimately, maybe I'm just biased by American true crime. Did they just not release, they could have just shown pictures of the walls.
Nope.
No crime scene photos.
Do you know what that would have done to that little town? It would
have put all this to rest.
No, yes. It's going to get more frustrating. Don't worry.
Americans are too nosy. We would have demanded them. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
This is a quote from him via an interview. They had attempted an overdose and it hadn't worked, so they were taking it to the next stage. This was a couple who were absolutely besotted with each other, and they had decided that they were going to go together. She was not long for this world. Her MS was crippling, and they decided that he was going to go with her. It was an increasingly difficult situation, but they knew what they were doing, and I think they should be respected for that.
It sounds like
47 stab wounds. What was it?
I was gonna say, do they know about the stabbing part?
It sounds like
Because
nobody.
that is the worst.
That was in the Sunday Times.
That is the worst possible way to kill yourself.
Yeah.
Or someone
stabbing.
else.
Yeah,
That's rage.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did no one know about the pets?
It sounds to me like a lot of parts of the story. It sounds to me like they heard the part about the fact that they both died in bed. It sounds and with the drugs. It sounds like someone left out the part about the multiple.
This isn't the
stabbings
last we'll hear about the drugs
and
the
Jackson Pollock blood paintings and there's clearly either selective fact selection in this, or someone said it was like this and they probably just think that it's made up. And no, there's no way they would do it. That's just sensational. What are you talking? Well, also said read that. If you read that in a paper, okay, about the number of stab wounds and the blood paintings and all that stuff,
and the removal of fucking.
What's the first thing you're gonna think? You'd be like, "That's bullshit. That didn't happen." It's just what makes more sense.
You don't slice your cock off unless you're I mean,
when you do face the facts, it does seem sensational until you realize that they are facts, and then you're like, "Oh, okay."
But it's also I don't know. I guess I could expect I don't want to say pearl clutching. I'd expect a reaction from a small town this more I don't know, the 70s.
Think of the children, okay?
This is the aughts, right? I'm not wrong.
This is 2007 or down 2008.
It seems to me like a very mid 2000s attitude about like, they interview the people of the town and the friends and the family, and they're all like, yeah, she was doing really bad and he wasn't handling it well. And everybody's just like, oh my gosh, how could it lead to that? And it's like, pretty obviously. It's crazy that this was like, what, 15 years ago?
2007 was a different time, I guess.
15 years ago, and the understanding of like mental health and all that shit was just so much worse. And it's still bad today, but so much worse.
So this dude is, he's planning his one-man show. It's the year of the horse. Meanwhile, the Williamson family wasn't particularly thrilled and had expressed their uneasiness. Byrne does admit to have not spoken with them during its production. Quote, I had to deal with the question of whether I was bringing it all up again when it should be laid to rest. I'm not doing it with the intention of hurting anybody, and I'm focusing primarily on the work. I don't know Mandy's father at all. I just hope that they wouldn't feel upset by us doing this. But the work has a right to live on and has so much to say. I had reassurance from Kay. Way to go, Kay. That me pursuing the work would not make things worse, and she supports me. But I don't want to set myself up as a spokesman for anybody. End quote. I apologize. I barely know. Kay is one of Harry's sisters.
Oh.
So you thought it was cool.
Oh, wait.
But I think we're in agreement. This was scummy, but because he went through with it regardless.
I don't know the family. Who fucking cares, dude? That doesn't matter.
Yeah. This, it premiered at the Tron Theater in Glasgow.
Hell yeah.
In February of 2009, and I couldn't track down anything on its reception. Although he was,
bet it wasn't good.
Although he was stabbed at he was like assaulted at a poetry reading 10 years later, so
47
maybe.
times.
I was hoping you were like after party.
And I'm kidding, this wasn't related. He lived, it was fine.
That's a hell of a place to get.
I don't know.
That's a hell of a place to get stabbed.
Honestly, probably one of the best places. With that much kale going around, nobody's got the strength to actually hurt anyone.
No, this was the mid 2000s. Nobody ate kale.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, there was you just ate cigarettes and bourbon. I think. I don't know. And that scene, love the beatniks.
But this is when shit gets even stranger, because he wasn't alone in that opinion. Much of it was getting told as contested in blogs run by Harry's family. Not to mention that there were separate theories forming. With weight, where others believed it was a home invasion style slaying and that the intruders were never caught. These ideas stemmed from the inconsistencies in witnesses' testimonies and the door being left open when their visitors found the bodies. It's a mess. Harry would have been into it. The conspiracies,
Yeah, sure. That's what he would have wanted.
Can you imagine hating someone enough to go to a remote island in Scotland to murder them?
What is important to note here...
It's a place to do it, I guess.
Is that...
not going to get caught.
That prior to the nation's 2016 Fatal Accident Inquiry Act, sensitive materials are permitted to be withheld if the assigned procurator, Northern Constabulary, basically decide... I've read it, I know what it means. Basically decides that it is in the public's best interest for the facts to not ever be disclosed.
What?
Wild. And this applied back in 2007
I've heard kitty gloves, but holy shit.
Yeah. Where the only exceptions to the rule were if it happened in the workplace or while in custody. Neither was applicable, so there you have it. That law got signed too late as it doesn't backdate previous crimes either.
So wait, so essentially they're allowed to not disclose anything so long as it happens at home?
Yeah.
Just because...
Not in a place of business.
No, you said the law was eventually signed, but it was too late to backdate.
Yes.
So basically...
But previously to that, the only exceptions they would ever make in that law was if it happened in a public setting.
Because then it has to be public knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
That's dumb.
It's pretty dumb.
It's just, it seems like there's... obviously, I'm not familiar with law and things like that, but just writing a law that's cover up whatever. Seems like maybe it's right for abuse to me.
That's... I can see this. I can understand the sentiment, but I agree that seems like that is a Yes, that is. It
That
makes
is
it
the very beginning of a very slippery slope.
Yeah, it seems like a layover from a different time. They did amend it. It just took until fucking 8 years ago or whatever.
It seems like it seems like the perfect excuse just to cover whatever up. Yeah. I mean, in this case, it was like a thing to probably use for its intention of like protecting the dignity of private individuals, but it's just like But also because you did that, the public thought something completely different of what actually happened.
No dignity here. And what also didn't help was the uncooperativeness of the two families and the ongoing tensions between them. Hey, it is like Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, perfect, yeah.
The Montagues and the Capulets.
Yeah.
Do you bite your thumb at me, sir?
But both Amanda's elderly parents turned their heads to the press after the second story was published. They also rebuted the idea of exhuming the bodies. Harry's mother, Jo, however, was quite talkative in a conversation with the Sunday Times, where her son's work was featured in. It became clear in this that she was not the biggest fan of Amanda, honestly saying some pretty snobbishly offensive things about her to the interviewer. Real bitchy and catty shit, like how she did the laundry or the way that the flowers were displayed at their wedding, and the amount of invitations to their house. It was so fucking petty. This is after they're dead.
Even if they weren't dead, she was almost dead of MS.
Yeah.
And she was bitching about the way she did her laundry?
I'm not making this
How
up.
did she even do laundry?
She then went on to exclaim that she was inept at making friends and that she was overly critical of Harry, or that she sulked too much.
Yeah, never gets out of her chair anymore.
I had to listen to this bitch.
And also potentially, like, inaccurate, as the rest of the family loved her. But yeah, she then ended the session with stating that she knew what really happened upon being visited by a police liaison.
Why is it? She's like, oh, boo-hoo, I have MS. Jesus.
All it is MS this and MS that. Even if it was before, if she's just talking about her prior to all that, it's still like, what are you doing?
Yeah, why?
It's like,
Jesus, God,
so
dude, talk about just tearing someone down.
Let a motherfucker sulk.
Yeah.
It's just rough out here.
Yeah. Or maybe she was sulking because she was with Harry and he was jumping off the walls.
Yeah.
I don't know. Amanda's folks responded with saying that Harry had, quote, no true family of his own, which obviously wasn't true. His three sisters all respected his privacy and proclivity for invention, but they still felt compelled to set the record straight by speaking up. Their parents were often the target of their brother's rants, although he was plenty loved. While yes, it was accurate that Harry's later years were mostly spent in isolation of his family, with the middle sister, Mary Ann, confirming that the distance was intentionally created by him to shield them from himself. There were many attempts to reconnect. Kay, the oldest, who I mentioned earlier, she lived in the U.S. and was even planning a trip back to Europe with Marianne and Emma, the youngest sister, for their mom's birthday as a surprise to repair the rift. Of course, any chance of reconciliation was broken once the news hit of their deaths. Instead, they gathered for a miserable and awkward burial. It was here that they wrote his eulogy and came to the collective thought that Harry had likely been pondering this murder-suicide for a long time. This after first assuming pills. Either that or maybe he went ballistic and flew into a frenzy once the plan to peacefully fall asleep via painkillers didn't pan out.
Interesting.
So Kay recounted that she had not seen her brother since a 2004 visit to her state in upstate New York. Unfortunately, this was her worst memory of him. Feeling remorse that their once happy childhood had now morphed into an awful situation where all she could do was listen to how powerless and depressed he felt. There reportedly was then a fight, prompting him to leave. He did call her 2 months later to apologize, but their relationship was hurt, and communications strictly turned into casual emailing for a year, and then nothing. Her final words to him were an unanswered message in October of 2006 that read, quote, "I'm here for you, just talk to me. The silence is deafening." Fuck. It's like the opening of Midsommar. Like, yeah.
God dang it.
The only prior response she received was about him questioning her faith in God and that there was something awaiting him beyond this life. Not very comforting.
No.
She defined that as his own internal spirituality, like playing a role in those rhetorics, but
generously.
I mean, yeah, technically. Sure.
Yeah.
Mary Ann's last in-person interaction with Harry was in 2005 when she innocuously inquired on if he had a good day, to which he yelled back, quote, "No fucking day's a good day." Rude, but absolutely fair when you're faced with what he was, you know. She knew that there was nothing that she could say that wouldn't result in an answer like that, so she drifted apart as well. Emma stayed in touch with him until the August before he died, but the point is that they all thought highly of him, and their hearts and doors were open. Emma even lived in the same neighborhood as him and Amanda for half a decade. According to her, though, he fucking hated the Shetland Islands and said that he needed to be in the city to feel close to his, ambitions, like his art.
Right.
And I'm sad for them, like the once gentle soul and their brother that they described just got mangled into an irrational wreck. But this is where things get, even more stranger. But this particularly is interesting.
Yeah, that was a punch to the gut, man.
Yeah, I'm trying probably said of this tailspin, but it's in early 2021, YouTube horror content creator Nexpo is doing research on his upcoming video on the subject of Drowned God, which I will state right now was the inspiration for this episode. I highly recommend it.
Nice.
But he actually reached out to Harry Horse's nephew on their take of all the misinterpretations regarding his deceased aunt and uncle. According to them, they had been, quote, excluded, misled, and drip-fed vital information during the investigation. They only knew what the media did. Amanda's loved ones were granted permission to read the details while his family was not. That and any attempts to request further info were denied as it was deemed to be too invasive of the Williamsons' privacy.
Oh, see, again, going back to that thing of just like, we need to protect the dignity of it, and it's just like, you're not protecting the dignity.
It's making it worse. There's no closure for anyone.
Yes, that's it. It's
you're protecting your closed case.
Yes. Yeah. That's it. It's like by the excuse protecting the dignity. Well, you're protecting the dignity of a highly undignified death, and all these people need to know. And it's like you're not protecting anybody now, because now everybody has questions. It's not like one of those things where it's just like, listen, you don't need to know the details of how someone died. Maybe it's embarrassing. It's like, no, this is traumatic. They need to know the details.
I think I've said this on the last one of these. I was like, if I ever die, everyone should have the right to know. It doesn't matter if I slip and fall down the stairs, I get hit by a bus, whatever it is. Everyone has the right to know about it.
Yeah.
Right. Get that in the will.
Yeah, exactly. The nephew went on to say that they didn't know where they fell on the matter. Police conspiracy, police incompetence. They weren't sure, but they did specify that the intruder, like the double homicide theory, was greatly supported by a high court judge and forensic psychologist. Just not the senior cops themselves, who of course denounced the notion of a cover-up or that the dreadful nature of the crime was kept a secret. It was like Shakespeare, damn it. There would be no active search for other perpetrators. Harry's autopsy, perhaps the only document that those close to him were able to obtain, didn't show the, quote, cocktail of drugs and alcohol in his system whatsoever. No amphetamines, no benzos, no opiates, no coke, no weed, no booze, no nothing.
So there was a toxicology report, but it was just blank.
No uppers, no downers, no zingers, no sideways, no whiz bangers. I'm sorry.
Just his regular dose of the antidepressant amitriptyline.
Antidepressants. Antidepressants. There you go. Yeah.
He was a regular cannabis user and occasionally ecstasy when he was younger. Not that this had anything to do with that.
Yeah.
The noting of drug paraphernalia lying nearby may have very well also been a lie.
Could have been staged, perhaps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think cover-ups.
Yeah.
All these drug paraphernalia, it's like they'll never suspect
it's like a huge bong with a giant weed painted on, like flower or like leaf painted on it.
They were injecting marijuana.
This soon led to the Horse family to question the description of the self-mutilation written in the report. Were they murdered? He pondered in the interview. Time will tell.
Also, technically it's the Horn family, right? Because only he was Harry Horse, right?
Yes.
Horn family.
This is the Horn family.
When you said the Horse family, I'm sorry.
Oh my God!
I'm just like listening. I just had to laugh.
It does make it a little better if you just imagine them all as differently sized horses, though.
Yeah, of course, the daddy horse has to be bigger than the mommy
horse.
Of course,
a little bit.
Yeah,
and the mommy horse, she has to have like a little bow or eyelashes, so you know she's the mommy horse.
Yeah, that's it.
So where does that leave us? I suppose the only answer is to personally formulate your own assessment based on what we've learned. To be honest, I can't definitively decide where I stand. Harry Horse was always a bit of an oddball, to put it mildly. He was told to be unpredictable, contentious, and obsessive. Does that turn you into a monster? It's definitely possible, but not exclusively. It's just when you toss in the media's sensationalized reporting, the family's strong counterclaims, the cops who won't fucking talk, the lack of available evidence in any direction, how do you formulate that final thought? When you try, more shit just pops up. Why did Amanda's dad wait until the murder-suicide story was published to take that side? Why did the coroner write that Harry was fucked on goofballs when he really wasn't? If he didn't kill everyone in the home, then who did and why? The island they fucking lived on was home to only like 900 people.
Yeah, it's a small...
If an external party committed this, where the fuck would they go? Did Harry have undiagnosed mental health issues that could have come into play? Well, all right, that one probably. I'm not a doctor, but there certainly was trauma that he was succumbing to.
I think that's the tragedy is that... So the funny is, like, I didn't realize what this is leading up to, but I kept asking him, like, wait, why is this guy, like, what is with this guy?
I know, because it's the first half is just so, like...
Well, it just sounded like you said. It sounded like he was a highly competent but odd person.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think
it was cool. It's just the despair.
Eccentric people like that, when you introduce that much, like, bad shit into their brain, they have a proclivity to break.
Yeah, because I almost guarantee that if Amanda wasn't struck with that horrible disease,
it comes back to like what I said
just
earlier.
be a weird dude.
He'd probably still be making,
yeah.
he'd still be creating today, and like
that's the tragedy. Is it's like it sounds like he had like a pretty nice life, and then it's like one tragedy happens. He spiraled, and then another, and then another. Yeah, and it just made his life worse until it ended in one of the worst tragedies of all. It's like that's the horror of this.
In the span of like just like a couple weeks to know that's like, well, you'll never be a father, and now the love of your life is going to die, and then and now your beloved dog passes. Like it's
on top of that too, this like Kate's Ted, caretaker fatigue. It's like you're dealing with all this tragedy on top of
I don't know if I could. Man.
Well, not only having to take care of someone, but this person is the love of your life and is slowly, crumbling away. It's like, it's a horrible thing to think about. And it's just like that's it. It doesn't sound like he was a monster. It sounded like he became one and he snapped. And not that I defend what happened.
No, I don't think you were.
That's horrible.
It's Next Post summarized the entire ordeal as deeply, just frustrating and conflicting. And I'm with him. We may never get the answers, like that conclusion we want from this horrific tragedy. That this will never be, wrapped up in a bow. One thing we can agree on though is that Scotland's weird esoteric laws ruined it.
Yes. It certainly didn't help anything.
Yeah, so I don't know where the rest of you guys fall, but
no, I fall on it was caretaker fatigue, and also like that weird like British, I don't know, stiff upper lip, almost like didn't want to reach out for help, refused to bring his obviously suffering wife into hospice care when he couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It is a tragedy. It's just the fact that he made this insane video game. He had some very conspiratorial beliefs. And the fact that, after this horrible thing happened to him and his family, that everything, all of the systems in place that are supposed to, like, I don't know, like, solve this thing and, report on it politely, help, everyone around him and in his life grieve, they all failed miserably.
Yeah.
I think that's like the one thing when you said it's like he didn't.
That's why I said there's this went places. It's like
I think you mentioned a detail. It's like he didn't
layers.
He refused hospice because he wanted to spend more time with his wife at home. It's like that. I feel like that shows like a very deep sense of duty and love, but also
or selfishness. It's hard.
Yeah, it's also like self-destruction on some level.
It was, but also it's like I think it's like maybe you should have realized that this is kind of out of your hands, man.
Yeah.
You have to at a certain point, and it's like not easy, but you have to.
I didn't think about the culture. Though. Okay, that's a good point.
It's a situation that kind of requires systemic intervention, and it seems like. I don't want to put the whole thing on the system, but it does seem like a bunch of systemic problems all happening at once. And on top of tragedy, it's like when the people who are on your side the most are your sisters who live across an ocean.
Just one does. The other two were closer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
but you won't talk to them, and like, what are they supposed to do? And your mother clearly doesn't give a shit because of what she said, and it's like a whole. There's like you could pick apart all day all of the things that could have changed to prevent it, but it seems like a perfect storm of fucked up shit, kind of.
Yeah.
And I hate to close this section with that. So one positive thing to come out of the Drowned God was back in '99, the project's producer, Algie Williams, and co-designer Anthony McGall stayed buddies after the development process and together founded Babel Media, a company that specializes in video game localization and other QA-focused multilingual services. Also worldwide network performance and certification testing. So very, very cool. And they're still actively in business today. They got 3 offices in Montreal, New Delhi, and Seattle. They've come with approval by Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft. And
I've definitely heard of them, actually.
Yeah, and their actual clientele is huge, too. Ubisoft, Konami, EA, Square Enix, WB, 2K, Activision Blizzard, Bandai Namco, Gearbox, Double Fine, Telltale, Harmonix. So good for them. And as for the game, well, it essentially kind of just faded into footnote, never to surface again, which was my script.
This is on me.
Then in a fucking bizarre, like, M. Night Shyamalan fucking, like...
Wait, can I tell a story?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so we're prepping for this episode, and we're, like, sitting in the studio.
This is part of the reason I had to delay this.
We're sitting in the studio, and we're just, like, planning, like, oh, when are we going to record and stuff like that? And Randy goes, well, I want to play it before we record. And I went, well, how do you play it? Like, it's a Windows 95 game.
Yeah.
Like, is it available on anything? And he's like, no.
Very confidently say no.
Yeah, no, we're going to have to, like, find an abandonware copy of it or something like that. And I just, by chance, Googled Drowned God download. And 1 week before Randy,
This is on August 13th, 2023.
Like, right as he's finishing the script, we find out that it's actually on Steam.
Oh,
but
but there's more to that story.
Yeah. So yes, it was silently posted to fucking Valve's marketplace. And how did abandonware suddenly return, like, for sale to the public like that? Didn't make any sense. Many feel, including myself, that this is illegitimate. First of all, there was no announcement to any gaming press that this was even happening. Second, the listed developer, Grayscape, and publisher, Siziminco, don't seem to fucking exist. Neither group has any other products shown on their Steam pages, and both didn't have any website or social media when I dug into them. Third, whoever uploaded it did not even bother to write the full title, omitting the Conspiracy of the Ages part. They were just hoping to make a quick buck, charging $15 per copy for something that had been passed around on the internet for free for years now.
Which is a huge problem on Steam.
Yeah, which I didn't realize.
That Valve has an issue with, where, like, you can take an old game that if you have an executable, you can upload it to Steam. You just need a name as a publisher and a developer. You can upload it to Steam, and you can see in the reviews, like, people being like, none of this is fixed. It's still buggy.
Yeah, so, and lastly,
it doesn't run on modern systems.
And this is most damningly, what studio in their right mind would claim ownership of a video game that's permanently associated with, like, ghastly, like, real-world deaths? Like, insensitively profiting off that probably wouldn't sit well with people. So, in each of these bullet points are covered in a Tumblr post by 1 in 1,000 the night it went up. That's the name. They urge players not to buy it, stating they know the release was never authorized because they have an acquaintance who is directly in contact with the Horn family. He goes on to say that they had no knowledge of the listing. The copyright is supposed to be split between them, the co-art director, Alistair Graham, and producer Algie Williams, who we discussed.
Oh my God, Alistair, such a British name.
All three would need to be involved for this to happen, and none of them that are active online shared anything about it. Also, the whole murder connection issue. There'd definitely be some reluctancy there. So yeah, that's just somebody who's aiming to take advantage of folks who don't understand emulation. And they then end their post by asking readers to flag the page for legal violation.
I was going to say, I looked into this as well. That Tumblr user I think might actually be in contact with the nephew that you mentioned next.
Oh, interesting.
Because
okay.
I think there was a Reddit post from them as well.
When that video came out,
to
it probably
flag
got
it.
popular. Yeah.
And then there was also like, if you go on, if it's still there, hopefully it's not.
Yeah.
But if you go on,
no, it is.
It is.
Oh, the game. I was going to ask.
This recording, it's still there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you go on the Steam,
page is
like
still
the
active.
discussions, you know, they have a discussion board for each game.
Yeah.
If there's just post after post, like this person
Right.
is very serious about this. They made a post that was like, "Do not buy this game. It is illegal." And then like everybody who's like, "Hey, does this run on this?" The first comment is that Tumblr user being like, "Hey, this is not official. Like somebody is scamming somebody. Your money is not going to the original creators. Do not download this."
And
they're like linking to. There were a couple posts taken down because they were linking. There is an abandoned. Their Internet Archive has an abandonware version of Drowned God.
Yes.
That you can download because nobody has like rights to it and nobody gives a shit to pursue legal action. So they were just like
taking ownership of
people were taking it down because you can't link to
Just
illegal.
distancing.
You
Yeah.
can't link to legal copies on Steam, but they're like in the Reddit post. They're like, here it is on the Internet Archive. If you want to play it, get DOSBox,
And
play it.
The
Do
other
not
part
give
is
the
that
money.
the users that attempted to warn others by creating like a Steam discussion board like quickly found their threads deleted.
Weird.
Yes, there was there was heavy moderation by whoever the developer is.
And what's truly crazy is that no major or minor outlet has been notified or has drawn any like attention to it so far. So like
It was all
you heard it here first before the
shit,
Kotaku
breaking
went,
news.
and
It was
like jumps
it was
on
all
it.
user shit. Yeah, it was like Reddit,
Yeah.
Tumblr, the Steam forums, fucking
Yeah.
Twitter. That's all the stuff I found about this when I was looking into it. Was
There are 4 reviews that state how no work was done, like you said, Austin, to port it to modern computers. It's still in its
Because
original like.
Has it
aspirations
not
and
made enough money on Steam for Steam to give a shit? Like it just.
I think they just have too much on their plate and don't care.
Yeah,
It's
thousands of games
and
being
Drowned
done
God's
every day.
original publisher, like they hadn't said shit because they're just hoping to keep the distance between it and themselves going.
Yeah.
Like
Is the publisher of Drowned God still around?
yeah, they're under just another name now or whatever it is. I think I said it was the one that they changed their name. Like I think it's like
Epic,
LEO
Epic,
Learning
and then
or
they stopped being
software or
Epic.
something. Yes, exactly.
before-
They
yeah.
wouldn't have been able to get away with that for much longer anyway. I don't know when the other Epic was found, but if you
90s.
if you are like me and nuts and like also suck at emulation, you can occasionally spot a physical copy on places like eBay, although it's extremely rare. According to price trading apps, a loose disc tends to go for a little over $60, while a fully boxed copy sells for around $150 to $175. Except I'm gonna bet that's on the low end.
If you want to play it, that there are a couple Reddit threads, including the Reddit thread I said about the illegal copy on Steam. There are very detailed things on how to emulate it using DOSBox or like PCMU to emulate Windows 95. Windows also does that. It's not hard, and nobody's gonna fault you for illegally downloading a game that no one cares about or has the rights to, or
Yeah.
Or is even really available legally anymore.
yes, exactly.
I mean,
Do not pay $15 for
no.
this game.
Yeah, you've heard it. You listen to us. Yeah. So I think that's it for tonight. That's the twisted and unusual tale of Drowned God, Conspiracy of the Ages.
You forgot colon conspiracy.
Yes,
Yeah,
colon
you
conspiracy. It's a mysterious game wrapped in its own mystery itself. It's a story of conspiracy shrouded in its own story of conspiracy.
Yeah.
And while its looming shadow may not be the biggest this medium has ever seen, there are many who will never forget the distressing events binded to it.
Yeah.
The headstones of Harry Horn and Amanda Williamson sit alone in the Scottish countryside. His name is engraved and like listed, while hers is strangely absent.
That's spooky.
Yeah. Elsewhere, Horse's wacko pseudo-scientific set of beliefs regarding the interactivity between ancient, intelligent extraterrestrial beings and our prehistoric human ancestors
That never came back up again.
continue to live on, along with his social pages, Instagram, Facebook, and official website. It's kind of haunting.
Yeah, I guess he was just early enough
Yeah.
it was just early enough you could have actually had those pages.
You can see Rue, though, and Rue's really cute. But thanks to him, Eric von Daniken, Cetria Sitchin, Robert K.G. Temple, David Hatcher Childress, Peter Colismo, Mario Bigliano, and everyone's favorite History Channel meme, Mr.
Giorgio Tsoukalos.
Yes. The highly rejected and constantly debunked theory by respected academics and archaeologists alike remains strong in certain susceptible communities. Not only that, but there are also, Dave, you made me think of this earlier when you said it's there are also studies that show that proponents of such ideas can, quote, adopt white supremacist ideologies to argue that indigenous cultures across the world were incapable of the feats of technology they achieved.
It always comes back to the
Happy Halloween.
Yeah.
Look at Mormonism.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Well, don't
don't
actually,
do
but it also applies.
It certainly does.
You telling me the Mormons are racist? I'm just now hearing about this.
Not anymore.
Also, more breaking news.
Yeah, they patched the religion.
Yeah, that is the best thing that they innovated is religion patches.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's surprising how concrete that scene is, like, and continues to be. And we were like talking about this a little before we started recording, but while driving up, we were having there was a discussion about reality television, and that pivoted to like how the History Channel also became leaned into that and it found success.
Same happened with the Learning Channel as well.
Right. Well, it happened with every channel: Discovery, A&E, Bravo,
plenty.
and
learning about aliens.
Learning how to not pay writers. Yeah. But yes. And then also we brought up the mermaid stuff and what other crazy.
There was like the angel. They were obsessed with the apocalypse in the early 2010s and right before Y2K. There was the apocalypse program.
That checks out.
Over.
Yeah. Oh God, you know what? They always have stuff about like ancient texts, the Tibetan Book of the Dead, and it's just like it's not a spell book. It's just an old book, guys. About
Well, it's so spooky.
Yeah, the Voynich manuscript. It's like it's nonsense.
Just look at mummies.
Yeah,
I mean, it's going further back, but like mummies were treated as a literal universal monster, and it was like actual burial.
I mean, Universal does own the rights to the mummy, I believe. So
the mummies in general, actually.
It reminds me of that meme that came out right around the cinnamon challenge where you eat the spoonful of cinnamon. Someone captioned it the Pharaoh's curse because they looks like they're breathing out sand. It's just the Pharaoh's curse.
You can trick anybody online into doing anything. What a doozy. You guys are the best. This one was a total trip. And maybe the most last podcast you will ever get.
Yeah.
If you listeners are into the sick stuff like me, then definitely go check out our last episode on More Dead People. If that ain't the thing, then stick around for our regularly scheduled programming and anniversary update soon. Much appreciation to Nexpo for the inspiration as well as research on this topic. Also, props to archive.org, or Wayback Machine, Moby Games, CNET, GameSpot, Business Wire, Comic Mix, all the various reviewers and
Topless
newspapers
Robot,
I mentioned. Yeah, there's too many to name. Go back if you're curious.
The Scottish Times.
The Scottish Inquirer, the Scottish
Scotsman,
the Scottish Weekly,
or whatever.
The Scotsman.
Except fuck the Times for their stupid paywall. I got to get up with UK for the workaround on those.
Don't forget about
Don't blow up our spot.
Don't forget
we acquire all of our articles completely legally.
Free information.
Real quick too. Speaking of last podcast in True Crime, there's another podcast called Talking Till Dawn. Two Scottish guys talking about Scottish true crime. Wouldn't surprise me.
Oh, wow.
Wait, do you think they would have an episode on this? It
Probably
seems like they would.
I used to listen to them when I was grinding WoW materials at like 4 a.m, and it's oddly soothing, but it would not surprise me because they had to have. If they have not done it yet, it wouldn't surprise me.
If they've already covered this episode, we swear the rest of us had no idea this existed ahead of time. We're not trying to ape anything.
It was sort of fun, just like throwing you onto the deep end where it's like they don't know what happens.
Literally no idea.
Well, because here I just want to explain.
Halfway through, I was like,
every other time we talk about infamous people, they're always greedy fraudsters and charlatans and that's like, and it's like some waiting.
No, this was much more complicated.
I know.
Than that.
Well, that's it. It's like usually it's like there's a history of just like defraud, like
the deepest person that is like maybe the most
like the Gizmondo, like the Gizmondo.
Oh yeah, that guy's just a jagoff.
Yeah, well, it's just like every step of the way you can tell he's just a god awful criminal. And so you listen to this guy, and it's just like
he seems like an Always Sunny or Entourage character. It's like this is way different.
And then it's like we're going in. It's just like, dude, he took care of his wife. He was really, and it's just like, what? Why? This guy sounds like he was really trying that. Oh shit. It's just like, what the fuck?
So good luck thinking about anything else if you happen to dig into Drown God. So,
okay.
Austin, how about some plugs?
Thank you for listening. Happy Halloween. If all goes according to plan, this should come out on Halloween Day.
Yeah.
We have, like Randy mentioned, we have...
Pour a glass of wine, sit in a beanbag chair, throw some headphones on.
Yeah,
don't eat candy corns, it's gross.
Yeah. Candy corn's delicious. Second best candy ever made after Conversation Hearts.
Have American Smarties filled with... British Smarties filled with American Smarties.
I was about to think of what's a Scottish, like...
Mars bars.
Haggis.
Deep fried Mars.
Oh, no. Come on,
all
guys.
we know.
Iron Brew.
Iron Brew is great.
Yo. What do you call it?
Bubblegum soda.
Yeah, brewed in Scotland with girders.
Yep.
God, I just...
All right, let me plug.
That's it. Iron Brew.
Close out with one of his songs.
Yeah, I will. We have a lot more episodes. Like Randy mentioned, we have Halloween episode that came out 2 weeks ago. We have other Halloween episode from this year. We have multiple Halloween episodes from years prior. I mean, if you're listening to this, it's either October 31st or November 1st, so you might not be in the spookiest of moods, but all things stay. We also have a ton of other episodes at Hot Button Cast, hotbuttoncast.com, and then we have Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Hot Button Cast, and we're also on all the podcast services: Spotify, Apple, Google, whatever else you listen to. And yeah, I think that's it.
Dang, we did it!
Yeah.
Happy
Halloween.
Yeah, let's break down the battle station.